Hi, I'm Ria Smikulski, and this is the Waste Challenge. The average American generates about 4.5 pounds of solid waste every day. An estimated 1.1 pounds of that is recycled, and 0.4 pounds is composted. That is 3 pounds per day going to the landfill, times 365 days a year, equals 1,095 pounds of waste in the landfill every year. If you live to be 78 and a half, which is the average life expectancy in the US, the waste you create over a lifetime will total more than 85,957 pounds. That weight is equivalent to more than 47 smart cars. I like to think I'm fairly conscious of the 3 R's, reduce, reuse, and recycle, but I'm taking the waste challenge to see how I stack up to the average American. I will track my waste for the next 2 days and keep track of everything I recycle, compost, or throw away. Growing up, my family didn't recycle or compost, and I didn't really understand the importance until I reached college. I gained so much knowledge about climate change, the environment, and the inconvenient truth of how we as humans are altering the environment. Since I took my first ecology class, I've been dedicated to reduce my footprint and my impact. Recycling can save so much energy instead of regenerating products from resources every time we need something. This project is really important to me because the amount of waste I produce directly impacts the environment. If I hope to study ecological environments, such as marine ecosystems, after I graduate, I better do my part and reduce my footprint. So let's get started. Alright, well, let's see how I did. I just finished my first day of tracking my waste. It was actually pretty fun. So for the breakfast that I had yesterday morning, I had cereal and milk, and so I didn't really need to trash anything from that. And then for lunch I had stir fry, and so I had vegetable parts and things like that. So I put those in my compost here, and then I also had an apple, a pear, so that's all my compost as well. And then for dinner I had ham from leftover Easter, and then I also had eggs, and these are actually compostable. And then I had some tea, and my tea leaves are compostable as well. And for my garbage, I have some candy wrappers, of course, more Easter candy, granola bar wrappers, some tissues, from paper towels from cleaning my hands. And then for my recycle pile, I finished off a jar of peanut butter yesterday, so that's recyclable. And I have some paper flyers from school, some junk mail, roll of toilet paper, things like that. So, let's see how I did. Let's measure it up here. So I have a scale that I'm using for my kitchen. So let me just tear this here so it doesn't count the bowl. Alright, so my recyclables is 1.6 ounces. Okay. Let's see how my compost is here. Alright, so my compost is 5 ounces. Okay. And then my trash, which will actually go in the garbage, is 0.9 ounces. So it really wasn't a lot. Yesterday was a pretty average day for me. Go to school, have lunch, come home, have dinner. So it wasn't really too much. Oh, and then I also wanted to mention that yesterday I ended up using this. This is what I get my mushrooms in from the grocery store. But I always keep these because I think it's a really great thing to start plants in the spring. And I'll show you later what I've done with mine. So it has newly planted seeds in it. So I think it's really good to save. So I would count it as part of my recyclables, but I am going to keep it. So I'll just use it that way. Alright, well, I'm excited for my next day, and I'll see you back here in a little bit. Alright, so I just finished my second day of tracking my waste, and I'm really excited to see how today compared to yesterday. Yesterday I didn't have so much, and today I know I had a lot more. So I'm going to start off with my compostables. I had stir fry for lunch yesterday, and then I also had it for dinner, so that's a lot of vegetable pieces left over. I also had an apple, a banana, and a mango, so those all have parts that would go into my compostables. And then I also had some leftover stuff in the fridge, like a couple of strawberries that were going bad and whatnot, so those are my compostable pile as well. And so I'm just going to weigh them here and see what I have. And I'll just tear this bowl. right, yeah, definitely more. So that's 1 pound, 12.8 ounces. So that's definitely a lot compared to yesterday. And then yesterday I had breakfast and I had cereal, and so I got rid of my my thing here, and then I also finished some jelly, and so this is compostable, this is recyclable, and then just some scraps of paper, some Post-it notes, stuff like that. So let's weigh this here. So that's 13 ounces, 13.4 ounces, so I think that's more than yesterday. And then trash, I definitely had a lot more of that. I finished my milk, and this is actually not recyclable, which sort of sucks. I think I might start using the plastic ones that you're able to recycle, so it'll be better for the environment. And then I had some tea yesterday, some napkins, things like that. And what else? Finished my bag of candy. And then just some yogurt tops, stuff like that. So, alright, so let's see this here, how much this is. Tear the bowl. Alright, and that's 5.8 ounces. So it's definitely a lot more than yesterday. I think I'm still probably less than the average. I'm going to go calculate it. But I think that my average day is somewhere in between these two. So I thought it was a really good experience, and I really liked tracking it. It was sort of fun. So this is a pie chart representing my first day of tracking my waste. And as you can see, I have not even a full half pound of waste that I generated for that day. But most of it was compost. There was some recycling, and then there was a really small portion of garbage. So that was different compared to what you'll see in the next graph here. So this is my second graph for the second day, and just like the first one, I had a large percentage of my waste going to compost, probably about 60 to 66% on either day, and then 22 to 28% was recycling. This day was 28%, and then both days I had 12% waste actually going to the garbage. So I think that's pretty good compared to the average American. I'm definitely below it. So this last graph here is showing the proportion of waste that is composted, recycled, or thrown in the trash by average Americans. And on average, 66% is garbage and 25% is recycled, while only 9% is being composted. And that's different compared to my results, as most of my waste was composted at 63%, 25% was recycled, and only 12% was waste. So it's a really big difference. And here are some of the ways that I reuse some of the things that I have in my household. In the bottom right corner, you can see the mushroom container I was talking about earlier. Those have my sprouting sunflower seeds in it. And above that is some Tupperware that I use, things that have other food items like yogurt. I end up using those as leftover Tupperware. And then as you can see the jar here, those are from like peanut butter jars or jelly jars. I use those to keep cash in. And I have a plant here that I put in water in a wine bottle, and then I also use a Clean Cantina water bottle so that I'm not using plastic ones. Here's a picture of my compost. I have an old trash can that I drilled holes in for aeration, and then I just throw my food scraps and my yard waste into it, and it really does cut down on the amount of waste that I throw out, as you saw from my graphs earlier. And 30,990 tons of food scraps were discarded in 2008 when they could have been composted, so it's a really great system to have in your house. And I just wanted to show a couple of ways that you can reduce your waste. Some yogurt is come in packages, and so then it has extra cardboard packaging, so you can just buy without it, or you can even just buy the tubs of it, so then you can use it as a reusable container. And then below that there are some fruits and vegetables, or just prunes, that are packaged individually, and so you can just buy them in regular packaging, and it saves on the amount of material you use. You can use hand dryers instead of paper towels. Bringing your own bags is a really great option to the grocery store, and then also packing your own lunches, so then you're not adding up any waste. It's all in a reusable container. Recycling is really important, and here are some additional things that can be recycled. Plastics with 4, 5, 6, or 7 numbers can be recycled at some curbsides. Otherwise, you can check out Earth 911 and you can figure out where they can be recycled. Corks are also really important. They're biodegradable and can be recyclable. They collect them at Whole Foods, at any of the stores there. Bread bags that are made of plastic can be recycled with any of your usual plastic bags at Cub or Walmart or places like that. Plastic bottle caps can also be recycled at some curbsides, or they do accept them at Aveda Institute at the retail stores, and so it's a really great way to get rid of those as well. And creating an aluminum can out of recycled materials requires only 5% as much energy as creating a brand new can, so it's really important to recycle aluminum. There are a lot of really great benefits for recycling. In fact, recycling a ton of paper can save 17 trees. Recycling paper also requires about half the water normally used in processing paper from virgin wood. The EPA estimates that producing a recycled paper product requires only 60% of the energy required to create one from fresh wood pulp. And it takes about 1/10 as much energy to recycle plastics as it does to create plastic from raw materials. Recycling one aluminum can save enough energy to run a TV for 3 hours, or the equivalent of a half a gallon of gasoline. The EPA also estimates that the recycling of 1 ton of aluminum saves the equivalent of almost 32 barrels of oil. And the energy saved by recycling one glass bottle can light a 100-watt light bulb for 4 hours, or run a computer for 30 minutes. So really all of this recycling saves so much energy. The bottom line is that recycling saves energy that would otherwise be used to produce more plastic, paper, and materials, use water, oil, and other resources. So recycling is really important. Here are my references, and I challenge you to take the waste challenge.